of Rockster. And Zoe, take it away.
Thank you so much for listening, for putting us through here. My story started 15 years ago when I was on my honeymoon with my husband, and we found a dying dog, well, emaciated street dog. And we did this insane thing, and we cancelled our honeymoon to rescue this dog. And you'll see on the back page of what's in front of you the way he looked that day in La Conca del Sogno. And suffice to say, he's rescued us back and he became our honeymoon baby, but we couldn't understand over the years why he wouldn't eat pet food. He would rather run away to a restaurant or go through the bin than actually eat the increasingly expensive or natural food we tried to entice him with. And one caveat in our story is that my godfather had won the Nobel Prize for Medicine in 1982, actually for aspirin, but one of his theories was there was no such thing as an allergy. There was no such thing as, a food intolerance. That these tests were bullshit, and that respectively, that if you trace from the invention of penicillin, non-commutable diseases, you will see a hockey stick, and I'm talking humans, not dogs here, in what's called non-commutable diseases. So that's autoimmune diseases such as diabetes, ultimately cancer. Now look at dogs. The average age of a dog has fallen from 18 to 11 years. There's been a 900% increase in diabetes, and that magical street dog was avoiding the food that had contributed towards that. So, and I think it's a bit like the day Kennedy got shot. Where were you when you found out what was really in pet food? We were just blown away by this expert we met by accident in Germany, and I was like, my God. I mean, is there a way to make Rockster love eating, keep him alive potentially longer using the theories of my godfather and taking some of the sources of the triggers of the dysbiosis and the microbiome out of his diet? And he went, in 40 years, no one's ever asked me to do that. And by the way, it costs, what if you took cost off the table? And the other caveat is I am the world's worst cook. I hate cooking. My children thank God every day for Deliveroo, and you don't want me to cook, let alone my dog doesn't even want me to cook. So I need this made for me. I need it done by experts. So the resulting food not only invented actually in Germany a new way, and this was many years ago, of cooking it from raw anaerobically in the can to maintain nutrient levels as if they were fresh. And using nature and harnessing science using natural foods in bio form, which can only really be found in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, completely free from antibiotics, growth hormones, steroids, and using food as medicine, effectively. So Rockster started eating like he'd never eaten before. Other dogs who tried it started eating like they'd never eaten before, culminating in a dog actually having kidney failure reversing, just with the food. And it led to a series of an accidental entrepreneur, in a way, us deciding to make the food available, leading it to be in Europe, actually classified it by the chair of the German Pet Food Nutrition Committee as actually a new class of dog food in a superfood for dogs in its own right. So it's actually created. And then Brad Kreiser here in America came to us and said, you know what, you need to be in America. And then Phillips Pet came to us and said, we don't just want to be a logistics provider, we want to take America needs Rockster food. And what you don't know is that that dog, who's also in his story, he's just entered his third decade. And his son, Rockster Jr., who's 2 years old, is making an appearance tomorrow here.
Aww.
And we will see you over there at the booth.
Yes.
Looking forward to visiting.
Excellent.
Notice we're not as relentlessly ruthless with our sand this year. We're giving a little bit of time to finish sentences.
Thank you.
But thank you, and I really enjoyed your application as well as your brief talk. It's a tough format, the 3 minutes. We know that, but the idea is that there's going to be times when you're going to run into people who could be pivotal to your business, and we're trying to help our barkers to hone that skill. So that's why we're tough on the time. But it's not mean-spirited, just for the spirit of the event, was that we want you to get something out of it and really be able to drill down to your key benefits. And Not features, benefits. Always remember, features are all over the place. Let's always find those benefits, right, Phil?
Right.
I'd like to start with BC because we missed him last time, so I want BC to have a shot at this one.
Absolutely. I love the look of the product.
Thank you.
And again, thanks to you guys for providing this forum, because this is such a huge show. I probably would have walked by your booth, but now I'm definitely interested. I have a couple different questions for you. Try and keep them quick. What's the price point of a can?
So the price point is horrific. So it is very expensive. It is probably the most expensive. It will not be the most expensive food in America,
Right.
but because there are some really insane things which are actually just trying to sell. But it's $6.99 for a can.
Retails for $6.99 for 14-ounce can?
For it's 340
It was
grams.
in there.
So what you can also do, and one thing that we actually have brought one of our stockists in the UK from Shoreditch Doghouse, is that you can add it as a topper. So it's complete and balanced, but it's also transformational if you add it to kibble. And since so many people feed kibble, and a lot of those people feel guilty about feeding kibble, that you can actually use it as a topper to that kibble and get some of the benefits.
And my second question,
And we
thank you
have
for
the
that.
super treats, which I was about to read.
That was my other. I noticed
Yeah.
there's something else.
You do want to try one?
Sure, I'll try anything.
Cool.
All right, and I'll quarter.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, we've already eaten dog treats together. I think.
By the way, we have absolutely no
We have this
liability
as
insurance
already.
coverage, so
Yeah. Hey, Anthony.
you're on your own.
So what you
I'm
don't
good.
know is we're dog treat partners. We do this all the time.
This will now be our second time eating a dog treat together at a trade show.
That's funny.
No.
Bio-organic. And we even itemize what part of the answer. So that's another thing I didn't get a chance to talk about. Is I believe that having been lied to as a pet owner, and something's natural, I believe in making the food which we didn't originally make for other dogs. If we're going to do that and we're going to turn our lives upside down and now make this our lives, is that pet parents have an absolute right to know what they're feeding their dogs. So on every single ROCKSTER product, there is percentages on the back. They will add up to 100%, even down to which part of the animal we're using.
I'm glad you brought that up, because when I looked
And I
at your
think
packet, I was fascinated that you were actually giving your percentages, and some might say that you're opening the door to a competitor to replicate your product rather easily.
But that's
How
the
do you
greatest
feel
form
about
of
that?
flattery. I really hope that whether you become a ROCKSTER customer or not, the two lessons that the ROCKSTER story will leave on the planet is, one, sometimes a spontaneous act of unselfishness and passion and love can rock the world and change your life and change the world, but also that I really hope that the pet industry will follow suit. And those that don't will be for a reason. Why aren't they declaring 100% of their ingredients? Why aren't they declaring what part of the animal?
Very well done.
Phil and Candace, would like to bring anything on this one?
Well, for the first-time presenter, I think you've done a wonderful job, actually. I really love how much you shared your story. You're clearly passionate about what you're doing. And I love the story of, your dog and how he would rather go, find food at the restaurants
No,
than,
seriously,
I love that.
When we
you
took
can
him
tie
to
that.
France, literally, he jumped off over the fence. The kibble was in the bowl. And when we found him? On the beach, literally begging for food in the smartest restaurant.
You were giving him food, yeah, you were giving him food,
literally
yeah.
went to a restaurant.
Yeah.
He was like, screw this, I'm taking myself for it.
I
It's
also
very European.
It is very, yeah. I also really love the transparency in the ingredients too. I know that retailers and consumers are really leaning towards transparency from manufacturers. So that
I think
they
it's
can trust
so important. And if it's just as my kids to now, I felt so guilty what I found out. I don't know if you've heard of mad cow disease. So do you know where 100% of those mad cows went? They didn't get burnt. They didn't go into landfill because they were considered too toxic. They went to specifically dog food. That's got to stop. And or you at least have to have the transparency for the consumer to choose and to know. I think that knowledge and that transparency is the key issue there.
Okay.
Did you have anything, Phil?
I have a comment and a question.
Absolutely.
So the question first is, if I'm feeding my dog properly, how quickly do I go through a $6.99 can?
It depends on the size and weight of your dog. So if you have a small, a 10-kilo dog, for example, which is a medium-sized dog, would be on anywhere between 3/4 and a can a day, assuming you weren't mixing it, if you're feeding it uniquely. If you have a 5-kilo dog, that can will last you 2 days.
Okay.
In
So-
relative terms, a cappuccino is roughly between $5 and $6.
So then my comment is, I think in the same way that you think about baby formula, things like that, they give guidelines for parents, so when you're a parent and you're sleep deprived and you don't really remember anything going on, the only thing that registers in your brain is Nestle says to you, or whoever it is, that says, you should be through this can in 6 days, right? And then you as a parent, you go, I gotta make sure I get through this can, otherwise my kid's not getting enough. To all the comments about how transparent you are, I think one of the kind of tacit selling devices that allows you to promote some of that is the commercialization of, listen, that can, if exactly the way you said it to me, or like small, medium-sized dogs, is you should be through this can in 2 days or 3 days. If you're topping up, you should be out in 7 days. That
So
allows
that's
someone
what we
like
said,
BC
we've
to be able
pioneered.
to sell a whole chunk of these.
So we've pioneered on our website, the first ever to do it. We launched 3 days ago because we had to launch for a US site because you've got a whole load of weird regulations in this country. So we have done exactly that. We have done not only by the food, but by the recipe.
Okay.
So per recipe, if you're feeding it uniquely, depending on the weight, activity level of your dog. I mean, there's so many algorithms that you have to figure out, and babies are easy, but dogs are all shapes of sizes and all kind of exercise. So, and also if you're mixing it, so you can put down whether you're mixing it with raw, dry, home cooked, the calorie from that, and then what calories and the amount you would have to add in of ROCKSTER on the proportion.
Amazing. Yeah, brilliant.
So, that was like a...
Amanda has one quick comment.
I just wanted to say thank you so much, and I know and feel that you will rock. And thank you, ROCKSTER, for coming to find you, because I think you're onto something very huge, and thank you.
you.